welcome back to my channel. I'm in a different venue today, in front of my trusted whiteboard, a place I like to be, talking to you about beauty self-esteem and ways to improve your self-confidence. Now, the reason for this, I was reading an article on the weekend in Psychology Today by Vivian Diller, who's a doctor who coined this term, beauty self-esteem, when she was reflecting on the difference between beauty and attractiveness, and really understanding why attractiveness is actually so much more important than beauty, despite the fact that what we're bombarded with every day on social media, in magazines, etc., are hyper-perfected images of beauty. Now, when you look at this equation, which breaks it down into three, one being genetics, can't influence that much, so I'm not that interested in that part. Two, good grooming, and under good grooming I would include good skin care, and we'll talk about that in a second. That you can influence massively, so that's actually really important. And number three, positive self-regard, that inner voice that is a constant source of dialogue and is so important in how you view yourself. And after all, self-esteem is what comes from within. It's not what we feel by comparing ourselves to others. So let's go into this in a bit more detail, shall we? So as I say, genetics, not that interested. How symmetric your face is at birth is a lottery. It's determined by things that are beyond our control. So I think it's important that you make your peace with your genetic lot. I know, like I'm sure many of you, spent my teens, my 20s, worrying about my features and am I perfect enough, all this kind of stuff that is an exhausting waste of time. Everyone has something that they can learn to love about themselves. And that is where the good grooming part comes in. I once had a patient who said to me that she preferred to spend money investing on things that made her feel good about herself as opposed to chasing perfection with procedures to avoid feeling bad. And I think that's a very important way of looking at this. Under good grooming, I consider good skin care, and I think that even goes as far as to include treating problems, and in particular, the thing I see the most of, acne. So good grooming, good skin care has the power to influence our beauty self-esteem in such a massive way. So good skin care, sorting out problems and really taking charge of something. And when you think about acne and how long and persistent a problem acne can be, the ability to sort that out really is transformative in terms of how attractive it makes you feel. And I often talk about the three things when it comes to grooming that are super important that you can influence. The skin being absolutely paramount, because the quality of our skin, I think, is something that all of us are pre-programmed to analyze when you look at someone's face. It's an integral part of assessing how well and healthy they look. So when you improve your skin quality, you immediately increase this powerful component of beauty self-esteem. Hair, we can all improve our hair. We can all work on having great quality, lovely hair. So that's something I think is worth your focus. And then brows and lashes, I talk about this a lot because again, they make any face look better. It gives us more presence. It defines our features. So do check out my video on why I think these three things are absolutely paramount to making us all look and feel groomed, well put together, and most importantly, attractive. Now, the final thing in this equation is positive self-regard. And as I said to you, it's that inner voice that is a source of a constant dialogue. And whether it's positive or negative, very much influences what we put out into the world. I'm sure all of us know someone who exudes such positivity from within that it's almost irrelevant how conventionally beautiful they are. I've certainly seen women who would be considered average looking on a beauty level, but who exude such belief in themselves and such warmth and self-care in terms of the way they relate to themselves, that they are far more attractive than someone who might grace the front cover of a magazine. So positive self-regard, and I think that this is where we need to keep track of that voice in our head. Because so often we have negative files that have been stored up, whether it's from childhood and a critical relative who made us feel less than attractive, who's always criticizing us because we didn't do this or we didn't take care of ourselves or whatever, but there's faulty filing in there, and that can dramatically influence that internal dialogue where we would almost say things to ourselves that we would never say to a good friend who was lacking in self-confidence. So keep a track of that. Keep a track of those little subtle things that we say to ourselves on a daily basis, and changing the track. If necessary, write them down and really watch yourself, so that the only conversation you have with yourself about your appearance is one of positivity and self-love. The next thing I think that we can do with this is to actually think about those things about ourselves that we really like, the things that you get compliments on. You've got beautiful eyes, you've got gorgeous hair, love your bone structure, and actually really play them up. Own those things that you know, whenever you show a little bit of this, good grooming and attention, and a little bit of this, where you actually say, hey, not too bad today. Those are the things that help us build that self-confidence and feeling of attractiveness that comes from in here, not by what's reflected in from the outside world. And that is when you've truly nailed the art of beauty self-esteem. Different one today. I hope you enjoyed that. If you liked it, please subscribe and hit the like button, and I hope to see you soon. Bye for now.